right, you guys, so we got a real kind of a treat today. We've got Kira with us, and we are going to be talking about glitters. Now, I know a lot of us use glitters on a daily basis. It's a lot of fun. It's a big part of doing nails. But I just had a question recently asking, how do I use glitter? And I thought, that's a great topic. We're gonna talk about how to use glitter in a few different ways. Kira's actually gonna do some of these along with us. So Yay. It's kind of a do it along with the video. So if you got your glitters, you guys, you can definitely follow along with us. So first thing I want to talk about is a sugaring technique. And this is probably one of the easier techniques. So Kira, you get a couple of nails and I get a couple of nails. Yay. What we've got on here already is we're gonna work on the two red nails. Okay. And we've got 2 coats of the red 105 manicure is one of our traditional gel polishes. So it's gonna set with a tacky surface. And what we've got on our nails here, we've got both of them done, 2 coats of our gel polish, cured out all the way through, and it still has that tacky surface on. Let's talk about sugaring. Sugaring is kind of that technique where you leave that surface kind of rough, so it's not encapsulated, it's not in the nail. You actually have that glitter on the surface of the nail. Now, to get that good sugared technique, we're gonna use our Ultimate Finish top coat. And the reason that I like the Ultimate Finish is because it has no tack when it's done. Okay. We're going to be putting the glitter into that surface, that uncured surface. We're going to cure it, and then it's not going to have that tacky surface to wipe off. So when you're sugaring, because you're going to be putting that product on the surface, you want to use a finer glitter. Now we've got a bunch of different glitters. I'm going to show you the one we're using today. What we are using is called Numero Uno, one of my favorite glitters. So this one is a really fine glitter. Works really good for doing those sugar techniques. Okay. Now, if we were to go to a larger glitter, they get harder to use as a sugar technique. Okay. This one that I got that would still work as a sugar because it is still a smaller kind of a cut glitter. If we were to get into, say, the bigger, chunkier glitters, those are definitely, chunky. Those are definitely not going to work well for the sugar technique, okay? So you kind of have to look at your glitters and see what you're going to use. Okay. The finer the glitter, the better it's going to be for a sugar, okay? So we've got our glitter, we've got our top coat. All we're going to do is take that Ultimate Finish top coat. We are going to apply one nice thin coat. Okay, so Kira's gonna go ahead and top coat hers. So we're gonna just do one for now. And we're gonna leave that top coat uncured, and then we're going to put our glitter into it, okay? When you're working with the sugar technique, you wanna make sure that you're gonna use a glitter that has enough translucency to it to where that light is gonna be able to cure all the way through, okay? Again, this one that we're using is gonna be great because it's an iridescent. It's gonna let that light shine through. So what we're gonna do is basically take our glitter, sprinkle that over that top coat, let it absorb in for a couple of seconds, and tap off the extra. Okay, I am gonna let Kira go ahead and do hers. And I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit about some of the other glitters. Now, the other ones that I have here, this one is fuchsia. I'm gonna show you here real quick. So fuchsia is one of our jewel tone glitters. So it's one of our jewel tones, so it's a really bright, really bold kind of a glitter. You want to be careful sugaring with a glitter like this, because what these glitters actually are is it's actually a silver glitter with kind of a colored coating to it. So because it's that silver glitter and that colored coating on it, it doesn't always let that light all the way through. So if you like sugaring with a color like this, I would actually mix that together with something else so that it kind of breaks it up so that it actually cures all the way through, okay? If you were to just sugar with this one, just shake that on there, that light's not gonna actually be able to get all the way through there, okay? So I would say always mix something like that with something to kind of break it up to let the light through. So we got our glitter on there all sugared. We are gonna cure that for a full minute. Pop those both in there. We'll give it a full cure for 60 seconds. That's going to cure that product all the way through, and that nail's going to be done. So there's no other top coat on top of that. You're going to feel that little bit of texture, and that's all that we're going to do. Okay, so our sugared nails are all cured out here. So you can come through with your manicure brush and just dust off any any glitter that's still stuck on there. So again, you're gonna see that it's gonna have a little bit of that texture to it, but you're gonna get that really good sparkle on top. Now, we're gonna add something a little bit fun. We're gonna use our matte top coat. So we've got our second nail, again, that's already got 2 coats of our manicure color on there. Again, that red 105. So we're gonna put just 1 thin coat of our matte top coat, and we're gonna cure that fully. So I'll let Kira do hers. And again, we'll cure that for a full 60 seconds. All right, so we've got our matte top coat cured.
But it doesn't look matte.
It doesn't look matte. So we do have to wipe off the tacky surface out. So we're gonna use our Manicure Cleanse, and we're gonna remove that tacky surface. And once we remove that tacky surface, then it's gonna look matte. Now here's where we're gonna have some fun with our Sugary, okay? You can put any kind of a design you want over that matte look. So because it's going to be Valentine's coming up here soon.
Oh my God, you're going to make me draw.
You can do polka dots. You can do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
You can do lines. You can, again, polka dots. Polka dots are nice and easy. I'm going to put a little bit of our Ultimate Finish top coat on our mixing tile here. And we're just going to create whatever kind of design you want to do. Like I said, I'm going to do some hearts, just a couple of little polka dots, and then connect those polka dots together. Okay? So Kira, you can do whatever kind of shape, kind of design, whatever you want to come up with. Oh gosh. But you guys, I always say lines and polka dots I can do, and hearts are really just polka dots connected together. So I'm going to do my hearts. And before that product has a chance to move, I'm going to come in and sprinkle my glitter back on there. And you guys, you can see I'm not really precise with where I'm putting that glitter. I just want to get it on there and then let it absorb for a couple of seconds, and then we just tap off again. Okay, so I'm going to cure mine while Kira is finishing up her designs. And if you give it just a couple of seconds to kind of let that product absorb, rather than shaking it off quite so fast, then it'll have a little bit more of that glitter in there, and you'll get a little bit more of that color. Okay, so we'll cure hers out all the way. Again, for full 60 seconds. All right, so there's your sugared hearts. There's my sugared hearts. Again, just go ahead and dust off that extra. Okay, so we got our full sugar nail and then our sugared design. So let's move on to our next nail. And again, another fairly easy technique. So this one is going to be our glitter press. Okay, so same thing. We've got our nail with our gel polish on there, 2 coats of our Manicure Black 101 cured out. I'm going to give you a glove, and I'm going to have a glove. Okay, so a glitter press is kind of a similar technique a little bit to the sugar, but this one's actually going to be in the nail. It's going to have a top coat on it, and this is a great option for those really bold glitters. Like I was showing you guys before, those ones that are that silver glitter with the colored coating, because this technique you don't have to worry about that product curing, okay? Our product underneath, our gel polish underneath is cured out already. We're going to put the glitter onto that, and then we're going to encase it. So I've got 2 of our darker glitters here. We've got our red and our fuchsia. And when you are doing your glitter press, you're going to use just a little makeup brush. And again, because we've got a tacky surface in there, we don't want that tacky surface getting onto our brush. So we're going to go from the glitter, we're going to press into the glitter, onto the nail, into the glitter, onto the nail. So that way that brush isn't going to be picking up that tacky surface as you're going. Now you can kind of blend that color out. If you just wanted to do maybe a glitter fade like that, I'm going to kind of tap off that extra. I'm going to come back and get a little bit of that red in there, so they just kind of blend together. But again, you can see that I go from the glitter to the nail, from the glitter to the nail, and back and forth. Okay, and so I'm just kind of pressing down those glitters, so that's why we call it a glitter press, partially, and then I'll show you the next step. But Kira, you can go ahead and get your glitter on there. You can choose whatever colors you want. if you want a different color. But again, these glitters work really good for that glitter press. You can kind of see that they look a little bit more chrome-like when you do them over black, but you don't have to just do it over black. It can be over whatever color you like. And you can choose other glitters. You can choose even that one that we sugared with. That works great for that glitter press too. Just kind of whatever colors you like to choose. So once that whole nail has glitter on it, you can kind of tap, just like she's doing there. You can tap on there and it's not going to pick up that extra tacky surface because that glitter is covering it. Okay? Now here's where the actual press comes into play. And both of us have gloves on so that we don't get any of that tacky surface on our skin. Most often, because that glitter's already on there, you're not going to have to worry about touching that tacky surface, but it's best to have just that little bit of protection just in case. So we're just going to press that down. And that's going to really kind of smooth out that nail. It's going to get all those little pieces of glitter that are kind of poking up. It's going to lay them down flat. You can also grab one of your forms. Just grab that little center tab, put it on your finger, and you can also use that to help kind of protect your finger from that tacky surface. So either way, you're good to go. Now, we are going to put these back into the light for just a quick kind of a freeze into place. So when you're working in that tacky surface is really just uncured gel. And so when you put the glitter into it, it kind of moves that uncured gel. So now we put our glitter into it, we're going to cure it back into place. So all of that glitter is really just going to hang on into that. Now it's a cured tacky surface or a cured surface. Okay, there's our glitter press all cured out, or just kind of set into place at least. Okay, so to finish these, I'm just going to do 2 coats of our manicure top coat. So I like the manicure top coat because it's nice and thin and it's not going to make our nails feel too bulky. And we're going to do 2 coats because the first coat is really just going to seal that glitter onto the nail. And then the second coat is going to ensure that we don't have any little pieces of glitter poking out. So it's really going to give us a nice smooth finish. Okay. And again, we'll give those just a 30-second freeze to set that coat into place. So our first coat is set on there for about 30 seconds. We'll do just another quick top coat to really make sure that everything is sealed in there and there's no little pieces of glitter poking out. And then we will do a final cure of 60 seconds. Okay, so our glitter press is done. Now here's what we want to make sure. We're going to go through and we're going to remove our tacky surface. We're going to use our manicure cleanse to remove that tacky surface. And we want to make sure that, again, everything is nice and smooth. Now sometimes, do you feel any glitter on there? Do you feel any
Just a little in the middle and definitely the sides.
Definitely the sides. So I always come through with one of our 180 sponge buffers. All right, maybe not ideal on the practice fingers here, but come through and you can clean up those edges, clean up any little sharp edges of glitter that may be poking off those sides and around that cuticle. Now, if you do find that you feel any glitter, do you feel any glitter poking out through the top there?
Just a little
bit there. So go ahead and buff that whole surface. Get that nice and smooth, and then you can just do one more quick top coat over the surface. It's quick and easy. You would rather take the little bit of extra time to get that top coat nice and smooth rather than having something that your client's going to pick at. So make sure if you do have those little areas that you've buffed, you want to make sure that you get that whole surface buffed because that way your top coat is going to adhere much better on the whole nail. So make sure you get those buffed out really good. And then I would say give it just a quick swipe with the manicure cleanse. And at this point, I would put a coat of protein bond on just to make sure that it sticks, the top coat sticks really well. And then also, if there are any little scratches, maybe that you were filing, the protein bond is going to kind of fill those in so that you don't see any of those scratches. And then you can just do one more coat of top coat. So again, one final cure of 60 seconds all the way through. So one last quick wipe with the manicure cleanse to remove that tacky surface. And she's good to go.
Ta-da!
All right, so that's our sugar technique and our glitter press. So these work really good for those finer glitters, sometimes kind of into the medium glitters. What happens when we get to the chunkier glitters?
Oh no.
Oh no! Because again, those don't work very well when you are glitter pressing and things like that. So these would be something more where it's going to be encapsulated in the nail.
We don't trust Kira with encapsulating.
Kira loves encapsulating. So what I mean by encapsulating is basically you are going to build the glitter into the nail. So it's not on the surface, it's actually going to be into the nail. And there's a couple of different ways to do this. I'm going to show you two different techniques that I like to use. So I actually have two nails all sculpted out. Okay, so you can either mix your glitters on your mixing tile and then apply them. And I like to use either the clear sculptor or the build pink. Just kind of depends on what you like to use for mixing glitters, because they're a good consistency. They're not too thick, but they're not too thin. Okay, so you can kind of see that they're going to move a little bit. They're not just going to stay put, and they're not going to get too thick. So when you're mixing your chunkier glitters in, I just kind of sprinkle a little bit in there. And again, you can use the chunkier, you can add the finer glitters to this as well. Whoops, that was a little bit extra. Didn't quite need that much. Let's just set that off to the side. Maybe we'll use that later for something. Now, that's actually, what happens if you do add too much. We'll just go with that for now. So work what you've got into your gel that you put out. And then if it feels like it's too thick or if it's not self-leveling, it should just kind of soften a little bit. But do you see how kind of chunky that looks? If it's chunky like that, add some more gel. Okay, thin that out so that it's not too chunky feeling. Because you want it to self-level a little bit. You want it to move a little bit. So you get a little bit more flow to it. And I'm just kind of blending that together. Now, we've got our chunky glitters in there, so that's actually going to be a really pretty combination. If you want to add any of those finer glitters, you can definitely add that to your mix. Now keep in mind, the more glitter you add, whether it's the chunkier or the finer, the more glitter you add, the thicker your gel is going to feel. So as you're adding colors, you may feel like you need to add more gel. And that's okay, just go ahead and add more. All right, so I can see, again, it kind of thickened back up after I added that little bit of finer glitter. So I'm just gonna grab, this is just my Build Pink. Again, they're both translucent, the Clear Sculptor and the Build Pink, so whichever one you wanna use. Okay, so two ways of encapsulating glitter onto your nail. One is by mixing like this, and then you would take your gel brush, pick it up from the tile. And now again, I've got this nail all built out. I've got a coat of our gel base on there, so it does have that tacky surface. So I'm just going to apply that however you want your design. If you want it to kind of fade onto the nail, if you want to do the whole nail, however you want that design to look. Just apply your glitter. And because that glitter is already in the gel, we're starting to build a little bit of structure as we're going here, but we're not trying to build the whole structure. We are going to cap this with either the Build Pink or the Clear Sculptor, again, whichever you prefer.
Why wouldn't you build the whole structure with that?
Good question. If you try to build the whole structure with it, because there is glitter in here, glitter kind of takes away from a little bit of that strength of the whole nail. So you do want to make sure that you are adding more strength over the top of this. And also, if you were to just try to build the whole nail just like this and you go to file, you may end up filing off some of your glitter. So you always want to encapsulate that so that it's covered and you're not messing up your design or cutting up the glitter when you file. Okay, so you can apply like that. I'm going to just pop that in the light just to set it into place, and then I'll show you the second way of encapsulating. Okay, so that was one way of encapsulating, or one way of applying your glitter to encapsulate. Now the second way is we're actually going to use some of this loose glitter that I've got on the tile. I'm going to come back to my base gel. And this is going to be a technique where if you want to be a little bit more precise where you're putting your glitters, you can use this technique. So I'm going to do a thin layer of our base. I'm going to get just a little bit of a gel on there, just a little tacky surface, so I can pick up those little pieces and I can just place them wherever I want to place them. So it's going to give you a little bit of a different look. So, and again, I can place them exactly where I want them. It's not all mixed together. If I want some of those other colors, I can either take them from the jar or I can put them onto my mixing tile and add those wherever I want them. Same thing with your finer glitters. You can do that same exact thing. You can pick up just a little bit on there. You can add it in between wherever you want to.
So it's kind of like if I have a certain idea in mind, this would be easier than maybe mixing it together before.
And I'll tell you, I feel like this way I tend to get a lot more dimension to the nail. You can see a lot more depth to the nail because what I'll do now is I'll cure this. We'll give it again a quick 10-second freeze. And then we can go in and add another layer on top of it. So when you mix it, it all kind of feels like it's all just kind of one blob. But when you do layer on top of layer, you do start to see more depth to that design. If I wanted to add another layer, I could pick up another coat of my base gel and brush that over the whole thing. So Mylars, same thing. We have that wet layer. Now we can place pieces of our Mylar again wherever we want to. I love accenting with Mylar because it just gives the nail a different glow than what your glitters do. And they're just kind of random shapes. They're just kind of shreds of that Mylar. So it just gives random little pops of color wherever you place them. Okay, so then once you have your Mylar into place, again, you're gonna cure that and set that into place. And then just like I was talking about encapsulating with Build Pink or Clear Sculptor on that first nail, you would encapsulate the whole nail, build up your structure to create that full solid nail. Okay, so our nails are all cured out. I'm going to use a little bit of our swipe to remove that tacky surface. And we'll file them out and show them the finished product.
Yes, we will.
All right, so Kira, I know you've probably done some of these techniques yourself. I know you've seen a lot of it before, but what do you think? Any final thoughts?
I think that glitter's an easy way to elevate your nails.
Yes.
And it makes you more money. I mean, hey, don't be afraid to get it.
Yes, and don't be afraid to charge for it too, okay? Anything that we're doing here is extra. It's on top of what your normal full set price is, so make sure you're charging extra for it.